What is up, guys? Sam from MWR Paintball here. Today we have another special video coming at you for a kind of a feature on the new MGX platform that is a 3D printed body kit series for the MG100 EMF100 platform by Planet Eclipse. This is what a fully assembled MGX Lurker looks like. It's one of the kits that we're offering right now. But in this video, we're gonna cover how to bring it from the original to this, and also look at the other options that we have in front of us. From different handguards, different stocks, different core covers, muzzles, all things that are MGX related. Before we start talking about all the parts that are here, let's do a little bit of an install and go from a stock MG to this. So give me a second to bring it back to default. All right, here we go. So let's get started. This is your factory EMF, no more attachments. Let's get rid of everything and let's start disassembling this so we can bring it to the MGX level. So first we're going to remove the cap, and second we're going to focus on the two screws that are holding the grip to the body kit. To get to those, we use an Allen key like this one, and you start unscrewing. There's one screw, and then the screw in the front. I like to use these ball end Allen keys so that you can use the long side and just kind of go at it from an angle. Should come out fairly easily. And set them aside. Now the two halves are going to separate. You're going to have the grip. Make sure not to lose any parts, and everything's going to stay in place here, especially this little seal, tendency to fall out, and you're going to set that aside for now. Then we're going to look at this part here, which is the longest part to disassemble due to all of the screws. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 screws to take off for the body, 2 for the detent covers, and finally 1 for the ball cap. So I've already removed all of those just for simplicity's sake. And then we got to remove the ball cap, which is always a little bit tricky. There is a twist to it potentially, but I'm just kind of pull on it like that, set that aside, and then once all the screws are removed, the two halves are going to split apart like that, leaving you with the core. I'm going to set all these parts aside for now, and these two screws as well, because we have included some black screws to replace those. Make sure you don't lose the detents here on either side, and let's get started with the assembly. The first thing that I like to do though is to make sure that this core cover is installed and has the alignment properly done for the core itself, or for the bolt assembly. So it is actually a tool that is used to remove the bolt, and I'm going to line it up in this orientation. I want to screw it in to a point where it's tight enough, but also lines up the hexagon with the, just vertically it needs to be aligned for the next step. So you want this hole at the bottom on the bolt assembly to be aligned vertically with the marker. If there's a little bit of an offset, then the stock pins might not align properly, and then your stock might be a little bit turned to the side. So you want to make sure that this is aligned as such and tighten enough that it won't go loose. We're going to keep the screw here, we're going to need it, but we're not going to need the cap for now. So let's assemble the MGX kit. The first part will be to install what's called the gap seal onto the notch on the front of the EMF. There's a little space for that on the front of this piece, and then on the back you kind of just tuck it over the grip and it'll hold itself in place like that. This piece has grooves here where the top cover, the upper part of the MGX kit, will ride into, and it will hold everything very securely. But before we get to that, we're going to put on our core. We're going to line up that screw in the middle and the screw in the back, that back into place. We're going to use these black screws that are included. Find our Allen key. Go ahead and tighten those up. No need to tighten super strong, you just want it to be like that. and that's the core or the gap seal installed. So that's the base of all MGX kits right here. All of these covers are going to slide onto the same gap seal piece. Next, we're going to install these pieces that will help us to secure our detents on either side and fill the gap here for the hole on the top of the marker. We're going to start with the detent covers. We have a left, identified by the L, and we have a right. These clip into place, you just push them in, and they should stay on there at least during your installation. Everything will get secured when you put on the cover. Next, we've got some options here. The one that's going to come with each kit, the basic version, is just this normal breech cap, and we also have this breech cap, which we will call the NPNP for no paint, no pew, because it is essentially a lock bolt. It will stop the bolt from going forward when you're out of ammo in this state here, and when there's paint, the bolt will be able to move forward and shoot the paint. So very basic design, uses a magnet in there. This piece can come out, so be careful not to, but I made it a little bit tight so it doesn't come out, and it just springs itself with very little force. It takes very little force to push this little piece back into place, so it should be quite reliable. This will be available in the marker smithing page, which is going to launch pretty soon, so that will be where all of these parts will be available independently. So we're going to set that one in there because we're going to use the lock bolt, and you can see that for maintenance it'll be very quick to remove these parts to get to the breech. If you need to pass your squeegee from the bottom of the breech all the way to the top to clean that up, it'll be very easy, because the next step is where the fun starts to happen. I'm going to use the core upper alpha. You slide that on into place as you just saw in the grooves on the gap seal. You just line those up and you push it to the back, and then all you have to do is install these two screws that are provided on either side of the marker. Those are the only two screws that you need to remove in order to slide off the top cover and access all of those ports for cleaning or maintenance. That's the only two screws that you need to remove. If you want to remove your bolt and your bolt assembly, you will have to remove one extra screw. If you are using a stock like this one, as the modular stock or the slant back, you won't be able to turn the bolt assembly. So that is one thing to consider. If you're using the AntiKit stock, which is the core key, we call it like that because it's like a key. Once it's installed with the screw, you can turn on this and then you can remove your bolt assembly without removing a screw. So that's quite handy, but this goes a little bit better with this upper than with the full upper, just because you'll have a little bit of a gap on the back there. Then we're going to use our screw, the same screw that we had before, and the same Allen key, and go ahead and tighten that. That will come in and press the two parts together. The pins that are metal on the stocks are going to insert into slots into the core cover, and make sure that everything is super secure back there. If you put an optic on there or something, it will have no wobble whatsoever. So the stock actually braces the core cover in this design. Alright, so this MGX kit is pretty much ready to put on a new handguard and get ready to play actually. So let's look at those handguards to start. So here will be the Reaper handguard. It's a 250mm handguard, or 10 inches long. We've designed it so that the opening will be the same as the EMF100 factory kit, so that any barrel that fits the MG100 or the MF100 will fit on this Reaper handguard. But we've also made it a little bit compatible with different sized barrels. So when the front of the muzzle gets here, you'll see that there's a little bit of a gap. So with the Reaper handguard, you'll have an option of two different shims that are going to come included, the 21.5mm and a 22.5mm. So the gap at the bottom will allow it to fit through, and the pins will actually register into some holes in the handguard itself. So once it's in position, it'll look like this. And then the other one is the 22.5 millimeter, which is a little bit of a larger gap. So you can use something like a hammerhead barrel or a nemesis barrel, I believe, is 22.5 millimeters. Now that you've put on your shim, you've decided which barrel you're going to use. You're going to want to put the handguard after the barrel in this case, because this part in the middle of the barrel will not fit anymore through that shim, because it is measured to fit on the outside of the front diameter, which is 21.5. So put on your barrel. You carefully feed that through. It'll go through the shim in the front and snap. And now you've got a super secure handguard with no wobble whatsoever. You can put any type of grip you want on the front of there, and you'll have a very secure feeling marker. Just pull forward again to remove that. You bring it back slowly, not to pop the shim out. You could also put tape at the front of your barrel if you're into that, but we decided we'll come up with a little system of shims like this, which is a little bit more elegant and gives you a proper premium experience. Finally, to complete this Reaper kit, if that's what you're looking for, we got this muzzle that can go on the front of there. It is a tightenable muzzle. You can crimp that on as tight as you want, but I like to make sure that it can come off easily, because if I need to remove my barrel to be able to clean it or something, I want to be able to take that handguard off real quickly without using any tools. Lastly, as a stock, we've chosen the slant back option here. So we're gonna put on our tank. This essentially. You'll have this handguard with this muzzle, this tank cap, and this back piece, which is the slant back with the gap seal and all the pieces inside and all the hardware, and an Allen key for this screw here. Let me show you how easy it is to get to that core if you need to clean something on the field. Once those two screws are off, the muzzle is off, everything will slide forward. There's a little bit of resistance because of this clip on the back here, but otherwise it just slides off like this, and you get access to your ball cap there, your detent covers if you need to access those. And yeah, so super easy to get some work done on this marker in this configuration. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's put these back. We're gonna put the mod stock this time. It's called the mod stock because it has a modular section to it. Eventually we might release some longer or shorter options here. It also makes it easier to install. We do have to have a long Allen key like this one to be able to reach down in there. I think this actually doesn't reach, so it's something we might look in the future to provide an Allen key like this one for this kit. So the modular feature is helpful for stowaway. You want to stow your marker, quickly disassemble it, remove the barrel, and you got something you put in a bag like this. So this is the Reaper kit with the muzzle like that. But notice this one already has a drop down, so you'll have a clear sight picture with your mask. It's super lightweight, it's very sturdy. It has a grip butt pad, but it is not rubber. This is hard plastic as well. Maybe that's something we'll look into in the future as an upgrade. And different lengths potentially, because this is modular. We'll be able to release different pieces that'll go on the back there. What else can we do here? We can look again at the Lurker handguard, but this time we have a customized with different accessories. Let's make some space. We'll put on the muzzle for the Lurker, just here. The shims for the Lurker handguard are these ones here. So the reason these are a bit different is because of the shape of the Planet Eclipse barrel. So you clip on the shim first. You can go ahead and attach the barrel. You put the shim inside the groove that's meant for it, and then you tighten that barrel up. Of course, the barrel wants to spin the other way, as the muzzle. Be sure everything's tight, and that will be your Lurker kit with the handguard. This buttstock doesn't come as one of the kits, but it will be included as one of the parts that are available on the Markersmith page, which is coming soon. There you go, that's Lurker style. Let's look at it with and this handguard here has a flashlight, a grip, and a little flashlight button holder on the side, which are all M-lock. So you can see that you can remove your handguard with all the attachments on them super quickly, switch out to another handguard with different attachments for different needs. There you go. Let's change it up a little bit. And we're gonna go for the AntiKit upper. That's the second screw on, because we are gonna change our stock here. Essentially, we're creating the AntiKit configuration here, just like that. The AntiKit will come with the stock piece that I just installed, the low profile AntiKit upper, and this handguard here, which is the same as the previous handguard we were looking at, but with a different front and without the grip component on the side. That adds a little bit more functionality, but if you want something super low profile, minimalist, this will be your option for the AntiKit. The AntiKit Lite is almost the same, except without this handguard. So you just get this. On here we've also got the Magwell flare that's available on our website as well. The AR safety, which is a flip safety, fire and safe. And then we have our extended mag release paddle that can be used in both configurations. I hope that answers most, if not all, your questions about the MGX kit and what its potentials are and where it's not as compatible with everyone's needs. For example, there are no air through kits that will work out of the box with this right now. That's something that we're gonna have to look into in the future. We don't currently have an air through kit, so it's not something that we can easily test either. Another thing I've been asked often is if the Planet Eclipse PWR stock is compatible, and currently it is not. Although it seems like it would fit in this position here, I need to figure out a way to mount it very securely to the marker, so that's not something that we can do right now. If you have any more questions, please post it in the comments or reach out on any of our socials, on Instagram, on Facebook, or on the website directly. There's also a chat option there. Before we go, let's look at one last handguard option, which will be available in the Markersmith. A little bit of a Tech 9 inspired. This shows the potential of the MGX platform with this modular handguard system and the way the stocks come on. There's just going to be a lot of different options that are going to be possible in the future. So get MGX now and start building for the future, because we're going to release individual pieces that are going to be able to be swappable like that in just a few seconds. As you saw, is super easy, and there's a lot more coming. This is super low profile. There's like barely any space above the core of the marker. The rail sits like quite flush on top of that. Wanted it to be as compact as possible, but as well it's super stiff because it's using the core of the MG100, the MF100 itself as a brace for everything inside. So that's really good. Impact resistance as well is super good with this material, and just the way that it's built, there's not much room for it to flex, to break, so it'll just hit and bounce off. Pretty easy to clean as well. I mean, it is paint, so you want to clean it as quickly as possible. The material does absorb, so you don't want to leave paint splatter on your marker for too long. But I know some people have painted these and it come out great. It actually even removes a little bit more of the 3D printed effect if you paint it, even though it's not super noticeable. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That covers everything that I wanted to share with you guys about MGX. I'm gonna try to put some footage at the end of this video or somewhere in this video, so I hope you enjoy that. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and follow the pages for more. Thank you. Bye.